Well, I'm back. Took a few days off. Well, I took a few days off from shooting some videos. I haven't been off. I've been working. I worked a very, very long week. Well over 70 hours in the last 7 days. Doesn't sound like much, but it is what it is. This video I want to talk about a recent trip that I took out to South Dakota, and I think the reason that I want to talk about this trip is because I'm holding this mug, and if the state of South Dakota would like to sponsor me, no, it's written out. It's not really what I'm doing. But I did take a trip out to South Dakota with my family. Took the wife, took my son and my daughter and my precious grandbaby. And what I want to talk about tonight is, or in this video, I have to remember not everybody's watching this video at the same time that I'm recording it. So when I refer to tonight, if it confuses you, there's not much I can do about that, because I have tens of subscribers, and they're from Minnesota and then like Australia and New Zealand. And those of you from Australia and New Zealand, you know who you are. So what I'm going to be talking about, or what I want to address, is the stark contrast between the state of South Dakota and the state of Minnesota. Now, I'll be the first person to admit that Minnesota has a vastly superior number of people, population-wise, than South Dakota. Minnesota is massive in population compared to the population of South Dakota. I haven't looked up the official numbers, and I don't really care to. But obviously we have the Twin Cities, which between Minneapolis and St. Paul, and then the outlying suburbs, that population alone is enough to dwarf the entire population of the state of South Dakota. However, what I don't want us to fixate on is that somehow the population of the state means that governance, the work of governing a people, is somehow reduced because the population is smaller. That's been one of the arguments that I've heard. So, and obviously, as this channel is dedicated to conversations about and commentary on the problems with government overreach, the problems with, especially within the state of Minnesota, the way that current Governor Timothy Walz and the Minnesota House and the Minnesota Senate are handling responses to COVID-19 and to the riots that have been taking place since George Floyd's death. We have seen not just a difference in population, but we have seen a difference in philosophy, and a difference in worldview, and a difference in the understanding of what constitutional power is and what it means to be a constitutionally elected servant of the people. Tim Walz has forgotten that. Tim Walz is not a servant of the people. Tim Walz very clearly has a view that he is the ruler of the people, that he is the de facto safeguarder of the people. And gosh, that sounds like why would you have a problem with somebody wanting to be the safeguarder of the people, Todd? Because it's not the job of government to keep me safe. Okay, it's not. I know that we've forgotten that in the United States today. I know that in particular in the state of Minnesota, with especially in the Rochester area, Mother Mayo, the Mayo Clinic, everybody seems to have this false sense that we're all supposed to be safe and we're all supposed to be healthy, and that it's the responsibility of people in positions of elected office, positions of power, as people say, that somehow it's their job to make sure that that happens for us, that we are safe, that we are protected. And there is a place where that is real, and it isn't the direction that most people go for. Once again, I'm not trying to get a sponsorship from South Dakota. Oh, excuse me. I'm not trying to get a sponsorship from South Dakota. I'm not trying. Anyway, what I would say, and what I'll continue to say, is that it's a stark difference in worldview and philosophy between the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, I think I'm saying her name right, and Tim Walz in Walz in Minnesota. So South Dakota is not locked down. They haven't ordered any businesses shut down. They haven't ordered any businesses to determine who's essential, who's not essential, who's a frontline and who's not a frontline. They haven't done any of that. They still haven't implemented a facial covering or face mask mandate in their state, and Kristi has flat out said she's not going to do any of that. And in the argument, the pushback from people in Minnesota has been, well, of course you're not going to do that because you have a tiny population of people. You don't have anybody that you really need to worry about protecting by geographic location. Everybody in South Dakota is already social distanced. But that's not true. We were in Rapid City. We were in many places in and around Rapid City. Rapid City's proper population is approximately 75,000 people. So to juxtapose that against southeast Minnesota, the only city in southeast Minnesota that comes close to touching that level of population is the city of Rochester, which dwarfs that by some. Rochester is approximately 115,000, 120,000 people. I'm sure I could be off by 10 to 20,000 somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. It's over 100,000, but Rapid City is at 75,000 people proper. And the week that I was out there from the last Wednesday of August to the last Saturday of August. And so we were out there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So 3 whole days basically. And that city was packed. We went for dinner on Thursday night to the downtown area of Rapid City, and we went to the Firehouse Brewery and restaurant. We had to wait 40 minutes to get a table, and it was almost 40. It was actually closer to 35, and it was worth it, by the way. And what I saw was a population of people. Many of them were regulars as I was engaging with them. These people were frequent customers. It wasn't all out-of-staters. And props to the owner of Firehouse Brewery. They were advertising for hundreds of miles. If you're familiar with driving Interstate 90 out to Rapid City, there are signs for a long time, starting in Minnesota, going all the way into Wall Drug. Well, Firehouse Brewery gave Wall Drug a run for its money. It was impressive, and they did a really good job with it, and their food was really good, and so was the Weizen that I tried. I'm not trying for a sponsorship, by the way. But what I'm getting at is, here's a business that could have effectively lost everything. Because by conversation, the gentleman that I talked to who was doing security for the Firehouse brand, which was a wine bar and a retail outlet and the restaurant, he had expressed that the gentleman who owned the Firehouse Brewery actually owned several businesses all in a block. He could have lost everything if Kristi had shut the state down. If she had shut down restaurants, shut down small business, he could have lost ostensibly millions of dollars. And there's something else too, is, you know, in Rochester, Minnesota can relate to this, is the hospitality industry as a whole, with hotels and motels and long-term stay places. Minnesota's restaurant business, Minnesota's hotel business, hospitality business, those services are hurting. They're still hurting. Many of them are not going to recover. And as I did a couple of weeks ago, well, a week ago now, I did a video about Surly Brewery in Minneapolis closing its destination beer hall. And why is that? They flat out said it's because of the reactions to COVID-19. COVID-19 isn't shutting down the brew hall. It's the reactions to COVID-19 that are shutting down the brew hall. And what's problematic about that is that it was unnecessary, as Rapid City by itself has proven. Rapid City's proven that it didn't need to shut down. They've weathered the storm, and they've had a massive influx of people in there for the summer. Now, the hotel that we stayed at, the Gold Star Motel, nice, quaint little place, not in the best part of town, but it was a 4.6 or something out of 5 stars. The owner is phenomenal. Her business struggled a little bit, but when we got up to leave on Saturday morning, it was packed. It was full. And that, she could have been driven out of business, and she's owned it for over 20 years. So one bad decision by the governor could have destroyed her. And here's what I want people to understand. Once again, I'm not trying to get an endorsement from South Dakota or from the Firehouse Brewery or from the Gold Star Motel. I'm not. But what I want people to understand is that's the backbone of a state. And how the governor governs, how elected servants, constitutionally elected servants, how they serve the people is by doing what's best for the people according to what the people need. And the people don't need governors. They don't need mayors. They don't need city councils or county boards or county administrators or anybody else telling them how to care for themselves when it comes to their health. We're not children living at home under the auspices and under the thumb of our parents. And, you know, God bless George Orwell. George Orwell probably wouldn't appreciate that reference, but God bless George Orwell for terming or coining the term or the phrase Big Brother. We don't need Big Brother. We don't need Big Mama, Tim Walz, or the state of Minnesota telling us where we can and cannot go, when we can and cannot leave our homes, what we have to wear over our faces when we can and cannot leave or be in public or be in a public business. We don't need that. And Kristi knows that. She knows that. And one of the greatest juxtapositions that I've seen now in the last couple of weeks is here's Kristi carrying a flag on horseback at a rodeo with the people she governs, while our Attorney General here in the state of Minnesota is seeking to persecute, by way of prosecution, people having a rodeo in the state of Minnesota. That is sickening. And it really is dangerous because, as an experience that I'll talk about in a forthcoming video, as an experience that I just had has proven, people in Minnesota are kowtowed to government mandates. They're kowtowed, they're acquiesced, they're cowering to the power of the governor. And it's destroying the state. And the governor who had the power to order businesses destroyed, and I'm going to insist that that's what it was. He ordered these businesses destroyed. He ordered these businesses destroyed. didn't have the power, and still doesn't seem to have the power or the wherewithal or the intestinal fortitude to shut down riotous thugs in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and riotous thugs in places like Hugo threatening to burn down the city of Hugo because how dare they allow Bob Kroll to live there. That is the juxtaposition between Governor Noem and Governor Walz. The people of South Dakota wouldn't be easily controlled, and we could see that all over that state, everywhere. The people who were from there were living free. They were living free. More than that, they were living in liberty. They were living with the pursuit of happiness in mind. They were living with the pursuit of life by the pursuit of happiness, by the pursuit of liberty in mind, because their governor cherishes liberty. Their governor cherishes the pursuit of happiness. Their governor cherishes the right to live life in a way that allows for the pursuit of happiness and for the possession of liberty. Our governor doesn't cherish those things. Our governor cherishes the power that he has. Our governor cherishes the way that people mealy-mouthed, panty-wasted, milk-toast, spineless sheep bow at his whims. And what he counts on is not only them bowing to his whims, but he counts on them to enforce his mandates for him. Don't go out of your house. Don't be seen taking unnecessary trips when I order you locked down. Don't go outside when I tell everyone who's healthy to quarantine. Don't say anything when we put people who are positive for COVID-19 in the long-term care facilities, and the deaths of our loved ones who are in long-term care facilities skyrockets by my fiat arbitrary and random orders. Don't question that, or you'll get shouted down. And I know this from personal experience, and personal experience is not a way to vet everything, but I'll tell you by personal experience, if you go and you share a view that is counter to something the governor has said on his Facebook page, and I'm going to lay this squarely on the governor, whether or not he has a public relations assistant who posts for him and they run their post by him, or if he does it himself. When you share a viewpoint that's counter to what the governor is saying, the prevailing winds, you will be attacked. You will be called all sorts of names. You will be accused of being stupid. You will be accused of being unethical. You will be accused of not caring about people. You will be called a racist. You'll be called a Nazi. You'll be called a fascist. You'll be called a Trump bot. You'll be called a Trumpster. You'll be called all sorts of things by people whose very governor has told people we need to have more civil discourse when it comes to political disagreement. And that's how our governor rules. That's how he rules. And he is a tyrant. The governor of South Dakota doesn't rule through tyranny. She rules for a respect for her people. She rules, and she doesn't even really rule. She governs. She governs. And she governs with respect for the people of South Dakota to make decisions for themselves as a people who have embraced and live out the pursuit of liberty. And why? Because she recognizes who she is according to the Constitution. She's a servant. And I applaud her. And I applaud the people of South Dakota who are living in liberty, who aren't terrified to talk to one another, who aren't so terrified that they feel like they have to cover their faces when they're in a group of more than 2 people, who aren't walking into restaurants and wearing face coverings to go sit at a table and then pull it down and talk for an hour to 2 hours. That's amazing. It's amazing to see the smiles and the joy and the happiness on the face of people as they are pursuing God-ordained, God-instituted, God-ingrained rights. Not constitutional rights, but the rights that God has imbued in every person, the natural rights of man, that are then outlined in the Constitution of the United States and in every state of the Union, in their individual constitutions. That's how Kristi Noem governs. Tim Walz doesn't govern like that. Tim Walz is a despot. He's a tyrant. And he has turned 2 weeks of flattening the curve into 6 months of totalitarianism. And he has pitted people against each other. And he is turning his followers into brown-shirted stormtroopers who will attack and malign and castigate anyone who doesn't toe the approved party line of the people's state of Marxisota. It is time for Minnesotans to resist. It is time for Minnesotans to demand that Tim Walz step aside or be removed from office. We need a governor like Kristi Noem in Minnesota, whoever that might be. And we need them now. We need them right now. And as I like to say in most of my videos, sic semper tyrannis, thus always do tyrants. And for a change, God bless you, Governor Noem of South Dakota. Thank you for governing your people according to the powers vested to you through the people in the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of your state. Thank you very much. We love your state, and if it wasn't for family, I'd be moving out there right now. God bless you, Governor.